So I was supposed to be named Samantha after Samantha Stevens on Bewitched. However, when I was born, my dad, or so the story goes, decided I didn't look like a Samantha. And so he named me Monica. Monica means advisor or counselor, at least if you look it up in a baby book. I think I got off light. It's not that Samantha's a bad name. It's just I'm not a Sammy. And also I'm weird enough as it is. I don't need to add the baggage of being named after a TV witch. However, my mother found out a couple months later that he had gotten the name from an ex-girlfriend. Understandably, that caused drama and conflict in the house. Years later, when my father passed, we found a letter from this Monica. And the tone of the letter wasn't, scandalous or an affair or anything. It was definitely two friends who really valued one another's friendship. That was the tone. So I like my name. I like where it came from. I think it's funny that my parents are that dramatic all the time. What can you do? No one in my family is called by their birth name. Not really a one. None of my uncles. So my uncles are Moose, Bubba, and Heavy. My grandmother did not look down at them and go, I'm going to call it Heavy. But none of us are called by our birth names. We go fully by nicknames in this family. It's one of the ways we show affection. And you may have this with your friends too. Nicknames are just a great way to show you love someone and that you're paying attention. And it also keeps people in check. For instance, one of my nicknames in high school was Crash, not because of my driving, but because I had been in so many different accidents riding with other people. So nicknames are kind of a little dig sometimes as well. That's kind of what I like about them. Like I said, they show affection. My brother Travis was called Mouse until third grade. And the reason why we called him Mouse is because when he was born, he didn't cry, he squeaked. So the nurses nicknamed him that, and it really fit him because he was a fairly quiet guy. I don't know what happened in second grade. I don't know what the switch was, but he was done with that life. He announced very sternly at the table, look, my name ain't Mouse. I've never been a mouse. Anyone who calls me that's going to get it. So after that, and of course, the siblings, we tested it, but he was backing that up. After that, we called him T-Rav. Eric was supposed to be Erica. My mom got to name one of us, and she thought Eric was going to be a girl. So for a while there, to bother my brother, we would call him Erica because, that's what kids do. One of the weirdest names I've ever heard was, well, stupid weird. And this actually happened. People don't believe me, but it happened. So in high school, I was friends with a guy named Ben. He went to my boyfriend's high school, same high school my dad went to. So tiny little Wisconsin town. His parents named him Benjamin. His last name is Dover. I kid you not. I knew a Ben Dover in high school, and he's such a sweet guy too, but oof, of course we gave him no end of flack about that. I mean, what were his parents thinking? I know his father, and I did ask at a social occasion once, like, because I'm like that. I can't shut my mouth. So why did you name him Ben? Like, your last name is Dover. His dad honestly was like, we didn't think about it, and Benjamin was a family name. I'm like, wait, he's the second Ben Dover? And he's like, yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about it. I'm like, humans. My dad especially loved giving people nicknames, and I think that's because he had so many nicknames. He had been in the army, he had been a boxer, he'd been a racer, like all these things involve nicknames. So my brother, when my father passed, really struggled on what am I going to talk about? And he landed on the best thing, which is he just went through all of my dad's names and how he got them. For instance, my dad was supposed to be Irv. He was supposed to be a junior, but the nurses and my grandmother conspired to get that switched on his birth certificate. So he was supposed to be Irwin William or Irvin William, and instead he was Bill Irvin. So sometimes if you wanted to annoy my dad, you'd call him Junior. Like that was a good way to get negative attention if that's what you were looking for. Most people called him Wild Bill when I was growing up. And there were various responses if people would ask, like, wait, is your dad Wild Bill? They either would look at me like I was going to steal the silverware, or like I was part of a legendary family. It was weird. So they called him Wild Bill from over the hill. We called him Old Man. He seemed to enjoy that. He also had some friends who called him Howley because he lived in Hawaii for a long time, and Howley is basically a Hawaiian slang for foreigner. In his later years, my dad got called the dude after The Big Lebowski. So when I would come home from college, I would want to go visit him, but it wasn't always easy to tell where he was. My dad is fairly nomadic. So the best places to find him were places in downtown La Crosse. For instance, I would call the guitar store and ask for the dude. Like, is the dude there? If you asked for Bill, they didn't know who I was talking about. But hey, is the dude there? Oh yeah, yeah. Let me go get him. Strange life. My friends, when they started having kids, one of the fun things was seeing what they would name their kids, and baby books are crazy. We read in a baby book when my friend was about to give birth that you should just, if you can't think of a unique name, you should add the name of 2 products. So I kept suggesting that she should name her boy Pepsi Megatron, Dodge Viper Ram, things like that. I had a friend who wanted to give his son the middle name of Danger, but his wife put the kibosh on that. I think that would've been great. Danger is my little middle name, that's awesome. I had another set of friends that got annoyed with one another because one of them had a dog named Luna, and then the other friend named her child Luna. So "You named that's my dog's name. You can't take that name." People get real possessive about names. As far as my nicknames go, they just show the different parts of my life. And that's how I'll start to end this. So one of my favorite nicknames now, at the time it was not, was Little Billy because I'm a lot like my dad. My dad would call me Bugs because I loved Bugs Bunny. He called me Stands with Fists from a character after Dances with Wolves. The other names on there are from friends. So depending on who you're talking to, I'm Harmonica, Monty, Monty skirt because I wore a denim skirt once in 7th grade. That one stuck. Monocles, all variations of Monica, like you'd expect. But my favorite name is Auntie. I love my nieces and nephews, and I love that that's what they call me. Plus, they struggle with my name. My dad said that one of his favorite names was Grandpa. So names have power, and I was thinking about them today. So there you go. Those are some of the names in my family to give you a little introduction to our people. So at this point, I'm going to switch the recording so that I'm recording class for people who aren't here. If you perform in class, I will not be adding you to that video. I will stop recording at that point. All right.